True Grit, my favorite, with John Wayne. Not that new one they made in 2013.
Oh, yeah, one of mine too.
True Grit, the only movie that John Wayne won an Oscar for. That Winchester he had was a model 1892.
Oh yeah, it always is.
And the time the movie took place in supposedly 1873. So
yeah, that's right.
The gun he had didn't actually come into being for 20 years after he existed. But hey, it was a great movie. Hey.
I know. Yeah, yeah. We have to forgive some of that, but you're right. The 1892 is the most popular lever gun in westerns.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I don't know.
And hardly any of them take place in 1892. I mean, the West was almost not as wild by then.
I mean, it was pretty much over. The old West was pretty much over by 1890. But that's all you see in the movies, though. Except the new one, the Magnificent Seven.
Oh yeah,
they got the guns right.
That's true. That's true. And you see that. Ironically, some of the newer westerns are more accurate when they come, like Silverado or Tombstone and some of those. And I think part of the reason is this newer spate of westerns that's all say from whatever 1990 on or 80s, late 80s or whatever you want to look at. There are more replicas out there. All the replicas for all these guns have been being made, so they don't have to go back and try to find antiques.
And people can fact check them now. People will point out and point, hey, that gun wasn't made till 20 years after this movie was.
That's right.
That's true, man. Old westerns were the worst about putting the wrong guns in there.
They just knew they could get by with murder with that.
Yeah.
Part of it is cowboy action shooting too.
True.
There are more people, and maybe video games. More people are more familiar with those guns and what they ought to be carrying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was like a time. It was like a I don't know, like a Renaissance period for guns in a way, because you had so many innovative designs coming out in such a short period of time that it's not like if you're just making a movie that takes place in the 70s. I mean, there's so many different guns or whatever. But in the cowboy days, you think of you picture certain guns in your mind when you think of the Western days. And you don't necessarily think like, oh, that gun didn't even exist until 1873 or 1886, or 1892, that's the big one, is the 1892 Winchester.
Which is, I don't know how many, I was asking your dad, I don't know how many of them were made. The 1892.
Oh,
that's all you ever see.
It's
but as far as
a million or more, 2 million or something.
As far as 1892 is sort of toward the end of the Western era.
Exactly.
Well,
the 73s.
That's the one that
73s.
most of the movies should have.
True.
Exactly.
The government handing them out to the Native Americans too.
Yeah.
Here you go.
That's right.
Oh, what a life! Here you go.
And the 1873 was made from 1873 until I think it was in like 1920s or something. That same gun was being made. I think part of it in Hollywood, they need a firearm first of all that will. Of course, now they do it a little bit differently with CGI and all that. But for most of the movies we're talking about, they're using blanks.
Yeah.
And I think a 92 is just such a durable firearm, and they could make blanks to fit the caliber more easily than maybe the.
What caliber was that anyway?
Well, it was like 32-20 and 44-40 and 2 or 3 others I forget. But I think even if it wasn't, even if they could have modified another firearm or whatever, they just chose the 92 because there were a lot of them around.
Yeah.
When those movies were made.
Accessible,
And once someone developed a bunch of blanks, and that rifle, it's so durable, it's hard to hurt it.
Well, they built the stuff to last back then. Yeah,
and they're throwing them around in the movies, and it just lasts forever. All the blanks it fits, so they just go. And it's a lever gun. Who's going to notice?
Which I got to ask, that piece of movie history when John Wayne's charging Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
And he's got the range in his teeth.
Yeah.
He fires the single action, and he flips. Cocks his 92.
Like Chuck Connor.
Was that was that a modification? Was that usual? I mean, did you send off to get that modification to your weapon, or was that
the large loop or
the large loop?
Yeah, I don't think that was a part of the Old West.
Okay,
that was John Wayne sort of invented the large loop.
Oh, that looked great though. It looked great.
And Chuck Connors.
Oh my God, that looked great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's a classic scene.
Dude, that's my image of the West.
Yeah, I know.
It happened, but it looks great.
You never know. Someone could have made that.
Well, someone in the day might have done something
in the
like
remake.
that.
In the remake, what's his name? You remember him? What's his name?
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges,
who had the patch on the wrong side. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Only a real movie guy knows that. He went after him with the old 1848 Navy Colts.
Yeah, Navy Colts.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they didn't.
The 1851 Navy
51
Colts.
Navy Colts. And he shot it out with those guys. I guess he didn't want to. You're not the Duke.
Yeah,
not the
right.
Duke. I mean, so I guess say, look, I'm not going to be John Wayne, so I'm going to make my own imprint.